So, this is a debrief with Aaron Murphy and Carleen Barry.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We're going to have a couple of run-ins, I think.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is our second debrief. We did the first go around, and I have totally spaced out. Is it Matt?
This is Matt, yes.
This is Matt, okay. The student's name. And so we're going to go over the notes and hopefully figure out what's going to be useful to sort of focus in on so that you have something really specific that you can go and play with.
Okay.
But you began to tell me a little bit about Matt and like in the context of this call. So fill me in on whatever's really useful for me to know that I wouldn't glean.
From this call? Well, Matt is someone that's usually working on, we're usually working on things where he's focused and taking responsibility for the things that happen, or for the things that he does. And so this call doesn't necessarily fit in that context, but it is impressive when he is wanting to talk about something that he has to do instead of just saying like, here's all of the things that are wrong with everything that's going on. Here's the way that I got, that this got screwed up and this got screwed up. So.
Oh, so okay, so sort of helping him focus on what he has some control over.
Yes, ideally. That is sort of our long-term plan. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was pretty exemplary then, because there wasn't any.
I know, he's an interesting dude. He does that sometimes, and so when he's not feeling really angry, then I like to really take advantage of that. And sometimes I call him out on it, like, you are sounding much more calm and better than you usually do, or you sound like you're in a really great mood, because he's often not. So,
great.
Yeah.
Good work. So the two things that we talked about initially were coaching beyond academics and the discussion setup. Overall, and I'll touch on both of those, but overall I scored this a 3, a 1 on impact, a 2 on technique, and we can discuss how accurate those are. With the impact score in terms of being able to take action and positive shift, and I certainly thought it was the most relevant focus area. You guys were really clear on that. And it seemed like there wasn't a particular action to come out of it.
Yes, I agree with that.
Although I did think it was useful. It seemed useful to my ear for him to sort of talk it out and actually conclude that there wasn't really anything else that he needed to do.
Other than write it.
Other than write it, yeah. Yeah, does that match with your...
Yes, definitely. I would say there was not... I mean, based on what I remember of the call, we were going like, okay, done this, and done this, and done this, and done this. So we did not come up with anything. So I think a 1 is definitely fair.
Okay.
And accurate.
Great. Well, and I captured some of the things that you asked him, because I thought you were sort of doing all the right moves, as it were. In terms of the technique stuff, we'll just go through. Great setup. You also noted right away he seemed down or tired or something. You talked about the housing thing that he ran into, English final, and this was really lovely in terms of assessing beyond academics. We can talk about. You said of the English final, we can talk about that, but let's make sure we don't skip over anything else. How did the bio midterm go? So that was a really good example of sort of holding that topic and just moving beyond plans for the break, jury duty. And then the transition into the discussion. Sounds like the only big thing right now that you're concerned with is the midterm for, I think that's an
English class, yeah.
And you checked in. Am I hearing that right? Absolutely. And this was a really terrific way to get the discussion off. So what would be the best possible results of this conversation? What conclusions can we come up with that would help you write this paper? I have misspelled the word right. Thank God I'm not in school. And he said it's not about the problem with writing the paper, it's more the depth of detail, a lot to go over. So, here's the only thing where you might sort of, I don't know, this may be too, after the game quarterback thing, but this is where you might step in again and go, wait a minute, so this isn't a problem with writing the paper, it's, do you need to get clear on how much to include, or is it, I mean, in my head, this is where I'm like, I'm in the dark about what you're talking about,
Right.
so is it this, is it that,
Right.
is this other thing, so that might be where to step in, and I don't know if you felt clear, but I know that if I don't feel clear like what we're talking about, I kind of want to stop and just say that.
Right.
And say, help me out. So, but he said there's a lot of material to go over, and he kind of gives you a recap of whatever the book is.
He did.
That's also where I want to step in and go, wait, do you want to just go over this with me or something? So you said, sounds like you just have a lot to organize. He doesn't want to all prep on one day. I want to really study this a lot. So are there any aspects that need more research? Any other pieces of the puzzle? It seems like there isn't anything to do left but sit down and write. So you're sort of going, wait, is there anything else? And to go back to this, I don't know if is that too fine a point?
No, I don't think so. You mean to say, like, to stop at that point and say, what specifically are we talking about right now?
Yeah, or if it's not writing the paper, because it seems like he wants something.
I know. And, yeah. And I think with him, because I think that, I can't remember if this is where it happens, but maybe, I think he talks about his, like, a job that he's going to do at some point for a really long time, right?
Yeah, that was after. You guys sort of wrapped this up, and then he talked about the bike.
Yes. So he is someone that I think in some ways it's almost like talking about something is like an exercise for him somehow. Or not an exercise, but so sometimes, I think with other students, sometimes I will rein them in and sort of stop and say, well, hang on, are you talking about this or are you talking about this? And I think with him, I am definitely more willing to let him go for longer, because sometimes he's so like aggressive and kind of like upset about things that sometimes if he sounds like he's talking something out, I just kind of let him do that. I think the other problem here, which also you're probably hearing, is I've talked to a couple of students about this paper, and so I kind of knew what the paper was about and what kinds of things he needed to do, and that it's kind of complex. And so I think I probably could have said, again here, like a little bit more specifically, like, what are you specifically talking about? What kind of, I probably could have done a little bit more of that.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, because you've dealt with this a couple times already, does it feel like you're assuming what should happen, or?
Well, not necessarily assuming what should happen, but I know what the pieces of the paper were, and I think, and he sounded like this is the thing that I'm kind of concerned about, so I think I was just thinking like, okay, some students have been really concerned about this particular piece, so I think I was just sort of trying to see like, what specifically is he concerned about in this paper, and assuming that, is it research, is it, and he kept talking about study, I need to study it, but he's finished it, which most of my students hadn't finished it, so I think I was kind of just trying to see how much he would talk himself into a place where I could figure out what the end goal was exactly. I don't know if I'm making any sense to myself.
No. It's sort of like you kind of know the lay of the land, so it sounds like to me, you're asking some questions and you're listening to go, wait, where is he at given the terrain that I already know is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I probably shouldn't be doing, but...
No, that's actually, that's totally fine. And I think what I